Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video, and we have finally gotten them. One of my favorite anime-exclusive archetypes is no longer anime-exclusive, as Earthbound Servants are officially coming to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the Animation Chronicle set. So this was a archetype that was used by Sergei in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 anime. It definitely resonates and kind of looks like the Earthbound Immortals, which were used originally by the Dark Signers, and almost 7 years after they were used in the show, they are finally getting printed. And let's go over all of the support. So we've got Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper, which is a Dark Fiend tuner monster, so that's going to be used to get a lot of the Synchro summoning off in this deck. We have Earthbound Prisoner Stone Sweeper, which I think this card is really interesting because the second effect of this card is you can discard it and add one level 3 or lower Fiend tuner from your deck to your hand. And that kind of gives it some synergy with Resonators, doesn't it? Sergei did duel Jack Atlas at the end of the Synchro arc in what was actually, I thought, a really, really good duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. And so maybe that's a little bit of a tribute to that duel, having a little bit of synergy with Resonators. I'm sure there's probably some other Fiend tuners that you could search, but whenever I think a level 3 or lower Fiend tuner, Resonator was kind of the first thing that came to my mind. So that's a pretty interesting effect there. And we also have Earthbound Prisoner Linewalker, and those round off the 3 effect monsters. All of these monsters do act kind of as searchers. The first one, Prisoner Ground. If it's normal or special summoned, you can special a level 5 or lower Earthbound monster from your deck or your graveyard. And then with Stone Sweeper, of course, you can search for a level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner. And then with Prisoner Linewalker, if it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can add an Earthbound Prison or Harmonic Synchro Fusion from your deck or grave to your hand. So all of these cards allow you to either add a monster to the field or hand from your deck or grave. So that's a really good utilization there. And now we get to the boss monsters. We are getting Earthbound Servant, Geo Griffin. If this card is special summoned, you can add one field spell from your deck or grave to your hand. And if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can destroy as many of their monsters special summoned this turn as possible. And if you do, inflict 800 damage to them for each monster destroyed by this effect. So not only do you get to add a field spell, but also you get to destroy as many special summoned monsters that your opponent summoned this turn, and that is pretty cool. So Geo Griffin, a pretty good fusion monster there. The other fusion option is Geo Griffin, which was always viewed as kind of the big boss, I feel like, when it came to the fusions, at least for Sergei. In order to fusion summon this, you need an Earthbound fusion monster and an Earthbound synchro monster, so very specific materials to fusion it. And let's see if the effects are worth it. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, change that monster's attack and defense to 0. If an opponent's monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy all cards they control. That's only a once per turn. And then if this face-up card leaves the field by your opponent, you can special summon an Earthbound monster from your deck or extra deck, except Earthbound Spirit. So Geo Griffin is tough to summon, because you need to obviously fuse a fusion monster and a synchro monster in order to summon it. But if you do, you have a very good chance to completely wipe away your entire opponent's board. And if this monster leaves the field because of an opponent's effect, then you can still special summon a monster from your extra deck. So pretty cool effect there. We're also getting 2 synchro monsters, as Sergei was a character that used fusions and synchros. Synchros because obviously he was from the synchro dimension, and fusion because he was basically the lapdog of Jean-Michel Raget, who was from fusion. So I always felt like that was probably the reason why we got to see him fuse and synchro and not use any of the other requirements, or mechanics, I should say. We are getting Earthbound Servant, Geo Gremlin. Materials are generic, a dark tuner, and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. During the main phase is a quick effect. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent then chooses one of these effects for you to apply. They either have to destroy that monster or you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. I imagine 99% of the time, your opponent is probably going to pick that second option in order to keep their monster alive. I feel like if you just got rid of that second option and it was just a quick effect where you could pop a face-up monster, it would make this effect a lot better. It has another quick effect during the battle phase. You can fusion summon one Earthbound fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials from your hand, field, or graveyard. So that's pretty cool there. As you can see, it's not that hard to get a Synchro and a Fusion monster onto the field necessarily, because obviously you want to try to go into Geo Grasha if possible. The other Synchro monster we're getting is Earthbound Servant Geo Griffin. Once again, generic Synchro, one Dark Tuner and one or more non-tuners. As a quick effect, you can special summon one Earthbound monster from your graveyard in defense position. And the second effect, if this card is destroyed by your opponent, you can destroy one card on the field, then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Earthbound monster with different names you control and in your graveyard, except Earthbound Spirit. So with Kraken and with Geo Griffin, there are ways where you can inflict definitely some burn effect damage to your opponent. We are also getting two spells, Earthbound Prison, which is a field spell card, and this was obviously used in the anime. But the spell I really want to go over is the other one, which is Harmonic Synchro Fusion. So first of all, the artwork is insane because it looks like a Synchro summon. There's also fusion summon elements to this spell card as well. It's a really, really cool ode to fusion summoning and synchro summoning. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck you activate this card, except fusion and synchro. You send two face-up monsters you control to the graveyard. It has to be one tuner and one non-tuner. Special summon one fusion monster and one synchro monster from your extra deck that can be fusion and synchro summoned using only the sent monsters in the graveyard as material. So I don't know if there is a card out there that allows you to summon two different types of extra deck monsters using only one card onto your field. I'm sure there are, but it's not often that you see it. So this seems like a really, really crazy spell card, especially because nowhere in this effect does it say that it needs to be Earthbound. So, like, you could probably do this using any tuner and non-tuner and any fusion and synchro summon. I think that's why I believe this card might have a crazy amount of potential and upside, because this is not Earthbound exclusive. This is not Earthbound Servant or Earthbound Immortal exclusive. This is just generic. One tuner, one non-tuner to special summon one fusion and one synchro monster from your extra deck. So, like, I think this card could have a lot of usage even outside of the Earthbound Servant deck, and I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this card. But man, oh man, the artwork and everything about it is just gorgeous, and I'm so happy that we are finally getting most of Sergei's Earthbound Servants. For instance, I know Earthbound Servant Geo Gremlin is missing. I know that monster is not here. So we're not getting necessarily all of them here, but we're getting a good amount of them. And the fact that we're even getting them in the main game is awesome. One of the coolest remaining anime-only archetypes finally coming to the game in Animation Chronicles. So let me know what you think about this new Earthbound support. I am super stoked to hear from you about these cards down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Goosey Q and Panther J, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Elaine, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, Pink Penguin. Be sure to check out my Patreon for additional channel perks. Thank you to everybody who is a patron or channel member. You guys help me out tremendously. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime content, and I hope you have an amazing day.